more discussions. I think it's really helpful to have those robust discussions. So I'd like to have a smaller presentation and more conversation around all of these things that we talk about. And I think Dr. Bass and Mr. Schaefer have done a great job of putting these events together. They're also a valuable resource for you to speak with, to reach out to for any other events also that are being organized by the GPS and the graduate school. So I'm going to try to share my screen. As I had mentioned, for those of you who joined in late, I sometimes have issues, but we will try. Let me know if you can see the slides.
Yes, they are there.
Oh, perfect. Okay. Okay, so everybody can see the slides?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So I wanted to just start out by talking about the background. Again, I think, how many of you are you all doctoral students? Unfortunately, I cannot see people. Let's see, just let me know if there's anybody other than a doctoral student in this group.
I'm seeing a lot. Oh, masters. I'm in the MBA program, and then there's a
Okay.
lot of yeses for doctoral.
Perfect.
MSW.
So even though this is saying doctoral, it's pretty much for everybody. So we know that only about 25% masters, doctoral, and postdoctoral graduates end up in tenure track positions in research intensive institutions. But we are training everybody to be like us in terms of faculty at research intensive institutions. So the remaining 75% who are involved in very impactful careers across all kinds of job sectors, and I just named a few here, but you can imagine the breadth of the careers we all are participating in. Industry, government, policy, teaching at four-year colleges, teaching in two-year colleges, teaching at K through 12. There's so many different types of teaching opportunities, the communication, policy. As you can tell, we need people in lobbying groups. We need people who can advise Congress. So all of those are really important for graduate students and for postdocs to be involved with. So, but since we're not preparing them the best way, MBA programs are different, so I'm going to put that in first. But for the most part, we really don't prepare students for those careers. You're fortunate to land in that position, but you really haven't had any background or information for the most part. Some of you do, most of you don't. But yet you're expected to flourish in those careers right away. So the idea was to have our students start looking at careers beyond academia, start getting ready for those without the stigma of having, oh, my research advisor is going to be unhappy if I do not go into a faculty position. We have to take that away completely. Every career is very successful in itself. It is not one or the other. All of these career types are absolutely essential. And I'm not talking just about the current situation, but we need people who are in all of these types of careers to really make an impactful, I guess the impact on society is across the board here. So the idea here is to expose and prepare for careers beyond academia. So this is not just a UTSA issue, it's across the country, it's across disciplines. So it's not STEM, it's not biomed, it's not social sciences, and not arts and humanities, but across the board. And I think you've all heard the conversations in your professional organizations, you've heard the stories. Again, initially it was, oh, only the best people go into tenure track positions, and the rest go into the careers because they did not get the job. That is absolutely not true. It's an option. It's a lifestyle choice in some cases. In some cases, might be true that they did not get those positions, but by and large, it is a positive option. It is not because they did not get the job. So I think we're getting away from that mindset, And we are focusing now on preparing the skill sets needed across all of these careers. So I moved here about 18 months ago from Wayne State University in Michigan. And at that time, around 2012-ish, while I was there as the graduate school dean, the national conversation around careers had started. And it was well recognized by through all these kinds of national reports that we needed to provide all of these opportunities to all our students. So at that time, the National Institutes of Health, the NIH, had developed a grant mechanism called Broadening Experiences in Scientific Training, or BEST. And the idea was to, again, expose biomedical graduates at that time to be involved with these careers. At Wayne State, since I was graduate school dean, overseeing, you can name every type of program. We had law school, we had medical school, we had, other than agriculture and architecture, we had every school. So we brought in students from all disciplines, not just the S for science. So it was really good because it also helped bring in interdisciplinarity into the conversation as well. So we started with the pyramid approach. In the first phase, we developed very brief introductions to each of these types of careers. So that was our exploration phase. We had panelists come in. In most cases, they were our own alumni, because again, the point of this is to bring in those networks. So we had alumni who were in these different job sectors and who were in positions to hire our current graduates once they completed. So that was one of the goals of that. So we were able to do that. And it also brought our costs down because alumni want to give back to the institution they've been at. So in the second phase, students were then able to choose one or two of these career types and do a more one-day kind of a deeper dive into these with actual workshops. These were always student-led and faculty-led, but it was always the employers, the alumni who were creating the content and who were delivering the content. And then in the final phase 3, it was where you could do a very deep depth internship. So 4 to 8 weeks, generally over summer, because that's the best time for students to have that opportunity. So they're not in the classes for the most part. So they would do the internships, and we provided funding for that if the partner organization was not able to provide funding. So that helped alleviate some of the financial constraints as well. So one of the things that then came up was we need skill sets across these types of jobs, whether you're in industry, whether you're in government, whether you're in teaching at any kind of institution, regardless, you still have to have these basic competencies. So we worked with our employers of our students, of our graduates, and we asked them, what exactly are you looking for? So across the board, across all disciplines, these were the main things. They wanted us to make sure that the students looked at those careers, explored them, try to get those developmental opportunities, communication. Doesn't matter if you're a dean, you're a faculty member, you're a staff member, you're in industry writing things, you have to communicate. Communication is a basic skill set. So written, verbal, how to do designs. Again, things like PowerPoints, just designing and presenting documents which look appealing, which look attractive, but the main ones were, of course, written and verbal skills. And then leadership and professionalism, absolutely essential. And as I mentioned, more and more we are working in interdisciplinary and transdisciplinary teams. So getting those teamwork and collaborative skills also identified. This is not something we did at Wayne State, but what we're doing here at UTSA now is digital literacy. We'll be starting that pretty soon. Educator development, equity and inclusion, and well-being. So these, as you can imagine, have become very important in this day and age. So I've just put these in along with the Wayne State, so you see a mixed banner up there. But the whole idea was to show you the kinds of skill sets that you'll be using. And then the thing was, once we talked to the employers, we got these workshops and sessions be part of our GPS series, which I'm sure you've heard about. Um, and all of those cross-cut across these careers, as I mentioned. So the employer said, that's great, but how do we know that student A has participated in this and really acquired that competency? So we reached out back to the industry and said, okay, you tell us what to do. And these are just some of those competitions. Sorry, I'm going to go back to this. So things like abstract writing, poster preparation, 3-minute thesis. You can read all of this communication. The other thing was resume preparation. You know, a lot of places, industry especially, they want a one-page resume, not the mega CVs that we have in faculty here. So how to do that? How to increase your networking using LinkedIn? How to write a cover letter, the elevator pitch, interviewing skills. One thing that is never taught to you, but you're expected to know, is negotiating for jobs and those salaries. Too often, people take the first offer, or they ask for too much. So, you know, that happy medium on what you need and how to negotiate. You're doing multiple roles, how are you going to manage those? And of course, you need those ethical and responsible conduct of research, health and well-being, etc. So how do employers know the students have acquired these competencies? So one of the things we decided to do was to use the industry norm of using the gaming mindset, so the gamification. And what industry set the standards with was looking at digital badges. So basically, it's like a video game where you have, you know, your initial set of skill sets, and then as you build, you go to the next level, and then the next level until you have the master badges. So this is an institution authorized micro-credential. It can be shared on professional social media sites like LinkedIn or whichever other sites that you use, or it can be put into an electronic portfolio. These can then be shared with your potential employers or as you apply for jobs. So businesses can then see what you've done. The importance of this also is that it is either, Wayne State in that case or UTSA here. We have that authorized badge. So they know what the content was, who delivered it, how it was delivered, and that it is truly an institutional badge, so to speak. There's a little detail about what the competency involved, what the skill set was, what was presented in that session, and how it was evaluated. So all of those you can then see the competency building. And again, since these skill sets are transferable across jobs, as you move from one job sector to the other, you can show again that you have all of these upskilling types of opportunities as well. So the process was that students would attend interactive seminars. They would then produce work that met the learning outcomes. So I know several of you have participated in the abstract writing or the poster presentation, for example. The output is very simple there. You produce an abstract or you produce a poster, which as the people who are presenting those or the panelists view those, they can say, yes, this is acceptable, or they work with you on improving it, and that's an easy enough thing to do. There are other things like negotiating skills, which is a little bit more difficult. So in those sessions, the panelists will work with you, and then there's a quiz or some kind of an output there, which then the panelists go look at those and make sure that you have understood what they were delivering. So then they evaluate the work, and if they feel that you have acquired that competency, then the digital badge is issued to you electronically. You claim the badge electronically, and then, as I mentioned before, you can share it to LinkedIn or other social media platforms or your electronic portfolio. And what is good in these is on the social media side, especially employers, supervisors, your friends, your family, everybody can click on those digital badges and they can learn more about what the skill set was, so they see that directly. And these are generally not on your transcript or in your CV, so it's a really good addition to demonstrate those competencies. So again, the idea of the gaming mindset, as I mentioned, so this is an example of teamwork and collaboration. So you may not be able to read these, but there are several different things: interpersonal and I can't read this too well myself, but awareness, professional professional awareness, all of those kinds of different things. Then there's diversity and inclusion, and if you participate in each of these sessions, you then get the next level badge, which is the interpersonal awareness. If you get all three of these, you then move to level 2 of the diversity and inclusion. And if you meet all of these, then you get out to the teamwork and collaboration master badge. So that's the point of these, to show which level you are at. And again, it shows in your electronic credential. So clearly our students loved it. So you can see the exact same session that was presented by the exact same people from one year to the next with no change in content went from, you can see each of these sessions, research statements, the 3-minute thesis, abstract writing, LinkedIn poster presentation. We also had postdocs participating in this, visual communication, etc. And you can see in almost every case, the numbers doubled or tripled. So we went from 374 to 839 with about the same, one more session basically. So it really showed the students were engaged. It was important to have that badge that showed demonstration of competency. So this work has been published. It's in the journal Change, which is the magazine of higher learning. So if you want to read more about it, you can find it in this. And the slides will be shared, so, or it's in the recording as well. So please feel free to use these resources. So when I moved here, we decided to start implementing what was already happening, but making it more professionalized in a sense, having these. And Mr. Schaefer had already been doing a great job, but we wanted to make sure that, again, we were able to demonstrate the competencies that the students were acquiring. So when Dr. Bass moved here back in February, she had also been part of that BEST grant consortium that I had referred to earlier. So between her and Dr. Schaefer, they were able to then bring these together to UTSA. And as we are starting to build this over summer, you can see our UTSA is our Graduate and Postdoctoral Success Center. And the whole idea is to navigate your career here. So again, you can see these slides for yourself, but the idea is, again, building your career, boosting your career. So what we have done is we have used these competencies that span the entire graduate student life cycle. So you can see everything from preparing for grad school to once you get your recruitment and enrollment, retention and completion, of course, preparing for careers. So all of our sessions will have you look at all of these things. So please do reach out and make sure that you're taking advantage of all of these offerings. They're free of charge, they're virtual, everything is virtual, they're asynchronous, you can look at them anytime. And we capture your attendance and your participation, your outcomes, and you will get a badge without having to do anything major. So in summer, we started with these badges, mainly the Job Seeker series and the Leadership series. So within these, we had people attending sessions, 488 people completed the sessions. We had 1,040 in the Leadership series. So these including developing your personal brand, creating a standout resume, writing catchy cover letters, preparing for job interviews, crafting a personal elevator speech, and building your network, which is really important. And then hand in hand with that was discovering your own strengths, which you can then put in a CV and demonstrate that. So leadership, mentoring, delegation, conflict management, leadership, etc. You can read these student testimonials. They have put these online as well. But in general, the reception has been really good. As you can see from the participation, many students have come forward and participated. Community members have come and participated as we are opening up all of these to our community as well. So starting with this event that's happening right now, we wanted to make sure that you were prepared for the graduate school research days. So this is an example of the communication series. So within this, as I mentioned, we had the writing skills with the abstract writing, visual design skills in terms of putting together your poster, and then presenting the poster. And with the 3-minute thesis, the oral presentation as well. So this is an example of how you would demonstrate these competencies and how you would acquire these badges. This is exactly how your electronic badge would look. So some of these informational sessions that have already happened is just giving you the information here where you can find it. So how you can register for these. And of course, you can always go to our graduate and postdoctoral success component of our website. You'll find everything there. So please do participate in these. We're doing this for you. It's extremely helpful. So we are making sure everybody has the same opportunities. It's not left to your individual programs that are highly understaffed to help you necessarily, but we're working in partnership with everybody. So some of the other collections that we have already is career development collection, as I mentioned before, communications, leadership and professionalism, and we're building every day. So we have different badges, as I mentioned, level 1, level 2, level 3, level 3 being the highest. Teamwork and collaboration, educator development. And this you might find very interesting as well, because it gets into the digital literacy, the foundational teaching skills. So for those of you who are going to be in teaching or who are going to be GTAs, this is going to be very helpful as we build to more graduate certificates and those kinds of things as well. And then some, as you can see, are under construction. I want to talk about this one because this is something, as you know, we are developing a campus climate survey for UTSA and developing our whole equity activity. So this goes hand in hand with that. So in the first level, we have, cultural humility, gender and sexuality, racism, equitable access. And then these lead to these level 2 badges, inclusivity exploration or inclusivity promotion. And then if you get those, you get the overall badge as an advocate of equity and inclusivity. So you can demonstrate your competencies across the spectrum. Again, more badges here, working with alumni, teaching philosophy for GTA especially, international teaching assistants. So we are providing all of these opportunities as well. And then we're not just limiting it to graduate students, but we are partnering across campus. So we are starting with at the undergraduate level, the first year experience is also being badged. We've just talked about the graduate career development, the GTA training, the teacher training. Literacy is for students as well as faculty. And then I've mentioned this briefly with the community upskilling. So as you all know, the economy was hit pretty bad. The pandemic started. Many people lost their jobs. And so we're working with the city in order to help the unemployed people or people who are looking to upskill to be able to participate in these sessions as well. So these are helping everybody across campus and beyond the community. So with that, I'm going to stop talking, and I'd love to hear from everybody on what your thoughts are and what you would like to see us do as well in the future, because this is a student-centric program, and I really would like to have students participate and tell us what we need to be doing. So I'll stop sharing my screen and open it up for discussion. So please ask directly or type it in.
Yeah, you're able to unmute yourself. So if you'd like to ask the question, feel free to do that. Or if you're a little bit more shy, you can type in the chat. Then I'm going to start off with a question to get things rolling. I know that you had interviewed different companies and different businesses to see what type of skills that they're looking for in their employees. Is this something that gets updated every year, or how is it that we should be monitoring on what companies need?
Yes, it's an ongoing conversation. It's an evolving process. So absolutely, it's every year. So we were surveying employers, meeting with them in focus groups. So making sure that we stayed current with what the knowledge was.
Okay. And there's a question, is there a specific vendor that UTSA used for the badges?
Yes, so we use a company called Credly, Credly, and they have been working with us and very efficiently. We've been very happy with them.
And then where do we sign up to take the sessions required for each badge?
So take it, Dr. Bass.
Okay, so with that, there is a website called Acclaim. So you can look for Acclaim San Antonio, and there will be all the different badges there. Otherwise, we have a survey that you can actually fill out, and you can start there. So in fact, while I'm monitoring some of the chats, I think I'm going to pull up that information for you of Acclaim San Antonio.
I think, isn't there a link on our graduate school website?
That is the old survey, which only collected limited data.
No, I think it's how to take the sessions. How do you sign up for the sessions?
Okay, let me go there. Because I know I put together a Qualtrics. And actually, because everybody is in this session and I've seen your names, I can send that link to everybody.
Yeah, could you please? That would be really helpful.
Yep.
Okay, and again, look at our GPS portion of the website. You'll find a lot of the information that you're looking for there.
Mm-hmm. Let's see here. Could there be badges provided in the future based on our field, for example, engineering?
Absolutely. So we are working with colleges to provide us with information, what the students would like as well. But it would be great for students to reach out to us directly and give us suggestions. So your example for engineering, please do let us know what you're looking for, and we'll be happy to work with the experts in that area to create those content information sessions for you. So thank you for asking that question.
If I can interject something, and Tracy, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but due to the fact that we're in a virtual environment currently, we've been conducting our sessions both synchronous and asynchronously. So a lot of our sessions that are badge related have also been recorded, and you can find those on the graduate school YouTube channel, UTSA Graduate School. You can go in, you can watch the videos under a playlist, whether it be Career Builder or a GPS, and if it is tied to a badge, you can do those deliverables and you can submit those. So you can still get a badge even if the synchronous session has already past dated.
Yes, so the one question where it says, is the abstract one over? The synchronous one is, but yes, if you go to that YouTube link, you will be able to see the session and complete the homework just as the others had.
And I think I can read the question. Do these events happen every semester? So some of these, like the abstract preparation, the poster preparation, they will be repeated. Yes, because the whole idea is to prepare you. So those will be repeated over.
Then one of the questions is very interesting, and maybe the group can help answer this. It says, personally, many students don't take part in these programs. How do you think one can increase participation?
Yes, so too many times students are either stressed for time, or research advisors may not appreciate them taking the time to do these, and we've all experienced that. But I think the whole idea is this is your life, this is your career, and to have these skill sets, I think it's really important that you understand the value and what you're going to get out of it, especially things like preparing for jobs, how to create your resume, how to acquire those job skills. the job interviewing skills, how to negotiate. I think those are absolutely important. The key is the networking. You know, your Rolodex is probably the most important thing that gets you a job. This is something that I've shared over and over with our students. I have never yet once applied cold for a job, not once. Once I got into a PhD program, my dissertation committee, one of the people on the dissertation committee was moving from University of Iowa to University of Minnesota. And after having served on my committee, he called me and said, I wanted to come as a postdoc and work with me in Minnesota. Like, sure, that sounded good. So of course, I mean, I had other offers too, but this one, I knew him, he knew me. It was a great match because I came from a cellular lab and he was a molecular person. So that was a good transition. It so happened that somebody who worked in that area was also going to be on the search committee for a faculty position. And right away asked me to apply for that. And I was reluctant, so they just nominated me. And I was asked to interview, and I did, and I got the job. The same thing happened for the first associate dean position. The person coming in as the graduate school dean knew me from conferences, from all the networking, and asked me if I was interested in being his associate dean. And that's how I got that position. And then the same thing happened when I became dean there. This position too, it was from networking. The search firm reached out to me, and then several people from here reached out to me. And again, I was nominated. So of course, you have to send in your application eventually, but that's how you get those. If you apply cold and people don't know you, chances of getting a job are much lower because you always want a known entity. So, you know, again, remember, it's your life, it's your career. So please do step out of your comfort zones and take advantage of these. And again, the more you can demonstrate your leadership, your collaborative efforts, the fact that you know all of these things, I think this will be really good. And given that these sessions are now asynchronous, you can take them on your own time. You don't have to take time away from your research enterprise or your classes during the day or whenever. You can take it on the weekend, in the middle of the night if you want to. So please do consider doing that. It's one of the very few benefits of this pandemic is it has given us the opportunity to help students with all of these. Does that answer your question? And I would love to hear from you what you all think, how you could participate too.
Yeah, and the person said yes, the question was answered, so you were able to address that.
So is there another question?
There is. Someone is saying, could you please elaborate on how I can set a goal for myself for achieving specific badges, and how can I follow up my progress?
Yes, so one of the things I would not recommend is taking every badge simply because it's there. Mm-hmm. So, you have to identify what your goal is in terms of, I have this specific skill set, but I'm lacking this. So start by exploring those opportunities and then move into getting more in depth. So almost like I mentioned, the pyramid kind of a thing. So explore and then expand your horizon in that area. I don't think there's a specific number of badges, but it's your interest in those areas as well. And your progress is very easy to follow because as soon as you finish one session, you're going to get your badge. So that's your progress follow-up right there. And you will get each of your badges accordingly. And then as you meet the minimum requirement for the level 2 badges, you get your level 2 badge automatically. You really don't have to do anything. And then you'll get your master badge if you follow up on that. So it's a very easy way of following your progress. Tracy and John, do you want to add to that?
I was going to say to receive your badges, you have to sign up for that with the company Acclaim. So that way you can receive your badges. It's a free account. And so that is where you can see where all your badges are. But hopefully you would like to push those badges to your LinkedIn, either your news or to your actual profile. So you could really keep track of your progress by checking in with your LinkedIn all the time.
Mm-hmm. And like I said, you can also create your own electronic portfolio. John, did you want to add anything?
Sorry, it took a minute to unmute myself. No, I think Tracy pretty much covered it. The only other thing with participation and everything that I would like to suggest is really get your classmates, other students that you know at UTSA involved. You can even come up with some type of competition to, if you go within a badge area, and to, to level up and to see who can get there first. I would also encourage you to do that.
That's a great idea. Thanks for sharing that. And again, it always helps to have numbers working with you. So working together with others, as Mr. Schaefer mentioned, is always more helpful, because it is isolating when you're working in a virtual environment as well. And please do us with suggestions for sessions, especially if you want some disciplinary things. Please do let us know what you would like to see us do. Because again, you are responsible for making this successful. We are here to serve you.
Right, especially as you pointed out previously, people will be going into all different types of careers. And so maybe there are specialties that some will need and some may just think that would be a good thing to explore. So if there's this, like policy, I know a lot of people are interested in some type of policy, and I don't think we have anything like that yet. So the idea of really brainstorm as to what would be beneficial to help you find your dream career.
So one of the things we're planning on doing for the coming year, again, as you can imagine, since we just launched in summer, it's going to take us a little bit of time. So what we want to do is to bring employers who are our alumni, hopefully, as much as possible, to talk about that specific career. What drew them to it, what types of skill sets they think they need, how UTSA helped them getting the expertise needed for that entry position, and how you can get those skills. So we are planning on using a lot of those kinds of sessions too. So stay tuned for that. So just to use the example of engineering, since that was brought up, we would like to bring in people who are in faculty roles, who are in industry, who may be in government, in various other types of sectors. Similarly, for the arts and humanities, we want to bring in people from NEA, from NEH. So keep looking for those career stories, which we've already started. And again, on our graduate school website, you will find examples of some of those career stories that have already happened. But again, we're looking to expand all of those in each of these broad disciplinary areas as well.
Then there's another question of, does Acclaim offer something like a pretest to help us find our strengths and weaknesses going into the badge process?
So I don't know about Acclaim, but there are other ways you can do that. One of them is that Myers-Briggs. I don't remember what the MBTI stands for. It's a Myers-Briggs personality test kind of a thing. So it will tell you your strengths and weaknesses as well. So that's one. There are other services as well. And Tracy, do we have those listed anywhere?
We don't have the different types of personality or skills listed anywhere, but I was going to say we do have discover your strengths in our career builder badges. And so that might be a way to get started. And I think there are some resources within that video that talks about other tests that you might like to do. Also, I think, and you'll be able to correct me if I'm wrong, if you are science-based, there's the AAAS Science IDP, which is online. And I believe they do have skill testing right in that IDP if you are science-based. And I'm not sure about, what is it called? Discover Your PhD. I think Humanities has a Discover Your PhD rather than IDP, but I'm not quite sure if there are strengths and weaknesses in that.
There are strengths and weaknesses there. Oh. But do look at that the badge that Dr. Bas just mentioned to discover your strengths. I think that would be the best, because that will also give you the initial badging.
Yeah, good way to start. typing in the other ones of the AAAS Individual Development Plan.
There's also the My IDP.
Yeah, that is the AAAS one. And then actually to pitch, and John would probably be able to give more information, we have a career story coming up in October 28th, I believe. And that is a person from the Humanities. And she is, I want to say she's like the executive director of Humanities Without Walls.
Mm-hmm.
So she might be a good source for people that wanted to figure out strengths and weaknesses to chat with Maggie. John, would you be able to elaborate on that?
Yeah, I would highly suggest attending her session. I've known Maggie for a little over a year. Humanities Without Walls is a program that she oversees that has a 3-week summer workshop for PhD students who are wanting to find or look at careers outside of academia. You know, as Dr. Mathur had touched on that information before. And so they, you know, it's a 3-week pretty intensive program. We will be looking, one of the reasons we're having Maggie come speak is we are looking for some of our students to apply for their 2021 summer cohort. But she knows a lot about the areas of you know, looking outside of academia and working in industry. And the way we connected is they had asked me to be a guest speaker about career trajectories in higher education. And so yeah, she would be a tremendous resource. So attending that session and kind of picking her brain would be definitely a value-added option.
So over summer, we had a AAAS, a person who works in AAAS also come in a fellow. We had somebody from this person was an alumnus of the anthropology program here, who's the director of the Field Museum in Chicago. So, you know, we are bringing in those kinds of people as well. So again, if you have any input that you want to provide us, names, areas, that would be great. We can bring people in. And like I said, virtual environment really helps because it helps to keep the cost down and we can just increase these much more. And again, think of the opportunities to network with these people, and they're all going to be your future employers in one way or the other. So connecting with them is absolutely the best way to move forward.
And because Maggie's is coming up, I'm actually going to be putting in, that is Maggie's link. You would just have to register for that. And it would be probably beneficial to hear about that fellowship opportunity. Plus, she's had a very interesting career. So I think it would be worthwhile to listen to how she got as far in her career as she did. And perhaps, I'm not sure when her dissertation is, but it's close to when she's talking. She may be transitioning to her doctor, either really before she talks to you or right after. So you can also talk to her about that.
We've also initiated some other kinds of things that we'll be launching hopefully next year, you know, fellowship writing boot camps, how to apply for a fellowship, an external fellowship, you know, the best way of preparing for it. We also have some incentives that will be coming. So again, look out for all of those opportunities as well. There's a lot that the graduate school has to offer. It's up to you to mine all the information and give us also, like I said, feedback on what you would like us to do as well. So other comments, questions? Okay, well, hearing none, please do stay in touch and give us feedback, provide us with some names if you have names of people you'd like to hear from. You know, depending on, most of the time, people would love to come and talk with students. So do let us know. So thank you, everybody. I'm going to turn it back to Dr. Bass.
Thank you very much for sharing your presentation and leading such a great discussion. And thanks to all the students for giving the questions. So again, yep, you are quite welcome. And this will be put online and you will find that at the grad school YouTube channel with all the other sessions we had been talking about. So we hope to see you there. Thank you,
everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.